Hi, I'm Patrick, and I'm really excited to show you a demo for the setup of the game Siege of Verdan. Each player is given a set of card holders. There are two card holders. One will be numbered 1 through 3. The other one will be numbered 4 through 6. And that's where you'll be putting your cards in play later on in the game. Next, you'll select a color for the game. I'm going to select white for my color because it's a little bit easier to see. Then you'll take your capital city card out of the deck that holds capital city cards. One that matches the color that you selected, that's white. It's going to be a picture of your capital city on one side and obviously the color on the other. You place that just to the left of your space on the board, in front of the card holder but below the board. The next thing that will be done will be each player will be assigned a ruler card to start the game with. All the rulers are taken from the main deck. They're shuffled and then dealt one to each player. I'm going to take a ruler card. You can see which one's designated the ruler card. It says individual ruler just below the picture. Card that goes to the right of your capital city card. Then the remaining ruler cards are shuffled back into the main deck. At that point, the main deck is shuffled, and then each player is dealt out 7 cards for their hand. They take a look at those 7 cards because that might be integral to where they're going to pick out a spot on the board for where they'll start. Then the player order is decided. The player that rolls the highest will get to go first. Let's say I roll the highest. I'll get to be able to pick my starting location. I pick my starting location by taking my flag token, and that's going to be an icon for my capital city. This is going to show where my capital city is on the board. Take my flag token, I'll place that on the board on one of the spots that I think is the best. The next thing I'll do is I'll take my ruler token. The ruler token's a little crown, and that's going to designate where your ruler is at all times on the board. I'll place that on top of my capital city. They both have to go on the same state. You can only play cards in states that you control. I can only control the capital city at the beginning of the game. Next, you'll take a look at your cards and decide what you're going to play first. If I rolled highest, I'd get to go first. The person on my left would go second. The person on their left would go third. And everyone in clockwise order would get to go. First thing you would do in the game is to empty your resource pool. The very first turn, there are no resources in your resource pool, so you get to skip that phase for the first turn. The next thing is collect your resources. I have 3 resources because I control one state. Your resources are the number marked on that state. So I have 3 resources to play. The next phase is pay maintenance fees. Your ruler card, when it's in this position, is actually your leader, and you don't have to pay resources or maintenance fees on your leader. Every other card you will have to pay maintenance fees on. So my starting turn, I get 3 points to spend. I'll look through my hand, see something that I want to play. The initial cost, the IC of the card, or the amount of resources you'll have to play to get it out into play. I'll place that in my card holder, and also place its corresponding token. It's in slot number 1. The corresponding token is number 1. I'll place that in the only state that I control as well. Then I'm not going to play any more cards. I have no more points to play, for example. Next is movement phase. So I can move as many cards that have movement that I control. In the start of the game, I'm going to go ahead and move my first card, which is going to be my scout in this particular case. I'm going to move it. Its movement value, scout's movement value, is 3. So I can move 3 states away. 1, 2, 3. Every state that this card goes through, I get to drop a flag. It's the flag carrier. Flags are ones that look just like the face of your capital city card. In this case, it's a little axe. So I can drop a flag in this state that I passed through, this state that I passed through, and the state that it's on. Also on my first turn, I'm probably going to move my ruler as well. It's a little unsafe to move the ruler, and I'll get to that later in a different demo. But in this turn, I would also move my ruler. Its movement is 1. I'll move it to this location, and I'll claim that state as my own too. That covers the setup for Siege of Verdan, and it even gets into the first turn. Stay tuned for more demos for Siege of Verdan.